Okay, so now that we have the stances and footwork out of the way, we've got some of the basic Krav Maga drills out of the way, we're gonna move into a little bit of the more technical training, okay? So what we're gonna be focusing on for this episode is going to be defenses from chokes. As some of these defenses and some of these chokes are going to end with us being slammed up against the wall. You notice we had to relocate to a place with a very lovely padded wall here for the sake of protecting our bodies as we're doing this training. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at the first choke. Shall we, gents? Okay. So this is a defense from a front standing choke, yeah?
Correct. He chokes and he applies pressure. The very first thing is I'm moving in and I'm plucking up and back fast. So the key is the speed of the choke. So if I just reach up here and try to muscle this, he has the advantage and he'll be able to hold it. So he starts to choke and I muscle, it's very hard. But if I use speed, I will get this choke off every time. I'm plucking right there immediately fast to get that choke broke free so I can breathe. So that happens simultaneously kicking him in his groin. So this is moving up, kicking him in his groin to get his brain to reset, get that reset motion started. I move in with an elbow or a punch, and then I grab for continuous knees to the groin, and kicks to the groin, even headbutts if I can. From there, I'm disengaging and moving away from him in my fighting stance.
Okay, so I noticed a few different things on this. Well, actually, let me go ahead and give it a try.
All right.
Okay, so from here, he's got that choke, okay, and I can feel that pressure already on my Adam's apple. So now, one thing I noticed is that when you did this, you went from the outside instead of going up from the inside. Because I know in some martial systems, they teach people to go this way or to try and go from the inside out. Okay?
Absolutely.
What's the advantage of going from the outside instead?
It gives us one solution for multiple problems. So if he's in close, where this happens, you can't get to the inside. So now you can still access those hands from the outside. So under stress, you don't have to think. It's one solution for multiple problems.
Okay.
And also, one thing is important to remember, if Chuck were to come in from the inside and do that, it leaves him go all the way up. It leaves him open, and now I can take him down, and now we're into a ground fight. And that's what we don't want. That's what we want to try to avoid.
Okay. One thing I noticed as Justin did that cup is that, again, he didn't try to grab it at all. Before he mentioned muscling, but I know a natural tendency for people when they're doing these is also to try and grab and lock down. But instead, all he's doing is he's just cupping his hands, boom, and then just sliding it off like that. Okay, so I'll do that slowly one more time. Up, cup. Now, are you guys, you're cupping right at the fat part of the thumb, or are you hitting at the wrist?
Right where the thumb meets the wrist.
Right where the
so
thumb
you're
meets the
grabbing
wrist.
part of the thumb and part of the wrist, and you're plucking it off.
Okay, so we're right in here then.
Yes.
Okay, right in here and right in here with that cup. Okay, so boom. Now the next thing you did was it was a simultaneous kick to the groin for the reset, right?
Yes.
Okay, does it matter whether it's right leg or left leg?
Neither or. You should be able to do it with both.
Okay, so as I'm doing that, boom, like that, same time.
Correct.
Okay. Next up, I noticed you kept it.
If I can keep control of that, I do, just so I know where it's at without thinking about it. I can feel it the entire time. I'm going to slide down on that as I elbow to the face.
Okay, so boom with an elbow to the face.
Right. Forearm to the carotid as I move in, and then grab his trap with your palm of your hand. And then I'm going to move in for knees and kicks to the groin.
Now, is this grip on this hand okay?
It's squeezing right tight to the body. I want that pinned to my body. Anywhere in between his wrist and or his elbow is kind of where my reference point for that is at.
Okay, so then from there I'm going to go for a knee. Now, when I go for this knee, where am I going for just his stomach, or am I going for his solar plexus?
Center mass. So anything in between the legs so anything that's there. If his head bends over and he's still fighting you and being aggressive, I might take a head shot.
Okay.
Or his abdomen, his groin, whatever center mass for him. If he's still fighting you, you want to do this. He's applied a deadly force choke to you, so all bets are off the table at this point.
Okay, so from here, I'm just going to raise that knee up, boom, to the solar plexus. And I'm assuming as I'm going for that knee, I'm also going to pull him down with my hand, right? I'm going to pull him down into that knee, driving it forward with my hip, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, another interesting thing about this technique is if, as Justin mentioned, we're going for, what was the name of this vein again? You said the carotid.
We're trying to hit around the carotid artery there, yes.
Carotid artery?
Carotid artery.
Carotid artery, okay? So there's two of them that run right along the sides of your neck here. And this is actually a great target to hit, to actually like knock people out because it disrupts the blood flow to the brain. Is that correct?
Correct.
So oftentimes when you watch wrestling matches, sometimes when people will go in for a headlock or something like that, one person will wrap around, boom, and they'll hit it. And by accident, they'll actually knock the other guy out. And with a lot of the traditional kind of martial arts strikes, like you think of the judo chop, as Austin Power would say, where they're striking to the throat, they're hitting for that target. Boom, you hit that artery, disrupts the blood flow to the brain, and sometimes you can make somebody topple. So as you're doing that, you know, as Justin was saying, you go up and you put your forearms, you dig that bone right into that as you're grabbing the trap. Then from there, I pull them down while I've still got a grip on that arm. Oh, that's right. Okay, and then boom, up there. Okay. Actually, that's another point that I'd like to talk about, or that I'd like to have you guys talk about, is underhooking versus overhooking. Okay? Now, you just mentioned that I need to do an underhook, so please tell me what an underhook is.
Yes, the underhook versus the overhook. Basically, an overhook is I'm going over the arm and I'm hooking here like this. Now, the problem with this is if Chuck has a knife in his hand, he can just fillet my back wide open. A lot of people don't know this, but your lungs are huge organs. They go from your front to your back. So if he's stabbing me in the back like that, he could be piercing my lung.
Yeah, even just with this, even though he's got my arm really tightly, I can still, if this was a blade in my hand, I could still push that all the way in like that, even though he's got a tight grip on my arm.
Very true. And also, if he's sweating or bloody, it's a lot easier for him to disengage and just pull that arm right out, because I don't really have anything holding on to it. I don't have any pain compliance as far as a joint lock or anything like that. Now, if I were to underhook, again, come under the arm and stay between the wrist and the elbow, I can do some damage. I can lock that arm out, and you see what happens to Chuck's body here. I'm keeping this elbow down so he can't shoot in on me, and I'm grabbing, as you can see, I'm literally grabbing the collar or the seam of his shirt right here, right where the trap is. And I'm gonna underhook here, and you can see what he does just by that torquing motion.
And I can already tell you guys, you know, I'm, in general, as a long-time martial artist, my legs and my arms and my shoulders are quite flexible. But even with that extra flexibility that regular people may not have, that's still really painful. And Cedric, if you just put me in that again. And I can tell that if he did that really sharply and really quickly,
But please don't.
I can tell that if he did that really sharply and really quickly, it's seriously going to tear something. Like, I can feel that. So I think as, you know, as an opponent, for sure, that's the kind of thing that would just make you seriously disengage. You know, like usually, you know, even if I'm really focused on attacking him in one respect, as soon as he would do that, I would back off, simply because I'd be trying to stop my arm from getting torn or my shoulder from getting torn. So that's an incredible technique. Another thing that he mentioned earlier, as you'll notice, he's not holding me on this shoulder, he's holding me on this shoulder.
Yes.
So, and as Cedric mentioned earlier, that stops me from trying to shoot for his legs or trying to go for a bear hug. There's no way I can grab him because he's got his forearm and his elbow digging right into my chest like here. So there's no way for me to actually get in and get any kind of a grip on him, no matter how hard I try. And not just because he outweighs me by 100 pounds, but actually because he's got this buried right into my chest. So there's no way I can get even closer. Okay? Just one more question with that grip.
Yes.
As I've gotten here, what about with the other arm here? Now, do you think there's any danger of them coming up and possibly hitting you in the head with this other arm?
The possibility always exists there. Okay, I can't tell you what's going to happen or what is not going to happen in a fight, but what I can tell you is this. In Krav Maga, our goal is to end this battle, end this fight as quickly as possible. I don't want to give him the chance to recoil and attack me again. So when I have this here, which we call reference point 1, I'm gonna have him here, and if he has any fight left in him, guess what? I'm taking it out of him.
Yep, that would definitely take it out of me. Okay, and there you go with that Krav Maga mentality again of attacking and defending at the same time. They're taking out that whole time lag between attacking and defending, so that you can just, boom, it ends right there. It ends at the moment of grab. And as he was doing that, you know, if he did that, if he went in for that knee, the moment he grabbed, there'd be no time for me to even try and punch him with the other hand. So that kind of eliminates that problem. Absolutely excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next show.
All right.
Sometimes your surface may dictate what you do. So kicking to the groin may not be an effective option because it might be on a sheet of ice or
Especially here in Michigan,
surface.
right?
Yeah, or
icy
maybe if
surfaces.
you're a lady, you may be in high heels or something like that. That would maybe predict that. maybe kicking isn't the best option right now. So that same choke comes on. So again, the same thing happens. The choke comes on, and I'm initializing my pluck right here, and the other hand is coming up and striking into the face with an open hand strike immediately.
Okay.
From there, moving in with an elbow strike, another carotid strike, and then kicks and knees to the groin again. So keeping this as simple as possible, or the same as possible, with little change as possible. I'm just implementing a one-handed pluck, which still secures my airway instantly, with a strike to reset that thought process, just like the groin kick. So, and then from there, moving in with my elbow strike, and from there, forward with more kicks and strikes.
Okay. Okay, so let me give that a shot. So we're here. So before, when we went for that pluck, we went with both hands like this. This time I'm just going with one hand. Okay? Now I noticed you also, because you're going up for this simultaneous strike here, you also twisted your body a little bit with that. Is that correct?
Just to get a little bit more torque behind it and reach.
Okay, so it's simultaneously, boom, this way.
Good.
Okay? Now when I'm doing this, I noticed in your case, you were going right for the chin this way. Now is there an advantage or disadvantage of going for the chin versus going for example, the cheek versus going for, straight up on the nose?
We're going for anything we can hit in there, because you never know what the circumstances are going to dictate. If he turns, if he moves, if something happens, we want to just be prepared for any of those things. So it's just going straight forward to the center mass of his face.
Okay, so it doesn't even matter exactly where you're hitting. It's all about that reset button, right? So, boom, right from there. Okay, then that segues into the same technique, locking down here, underhooking here, and then from there, boom, knee, knee, and then lastly was disengaging, right?
Correct.
And then pushing them off.
Correct.
Okay? Okay.
One quick thing about the disengagement. I want everyone to see this, okay? If Chuck and I get into a fight, I do my combative and I want to disengage, all right? I want you to look and see which is more powerful. This,
Okay.
come on back, okay? Or this. The difference is, the second one,
I think at your size, pretty much everything.
the first one I'm just standing here and I just push off, okay? The second one I'm actually raising up on my toes and the balls of my feet, my elbows come up, all right? I'm using my entire core now, all the way from my feet up, and I'm pushing into him as he goes out.
Okay, so this is a defensive against a choke from the side, yes?
It is. So he's choking from the side, and the same principles apply. I'm plucking fast as I can at the wrist, where the wrist meets the thumb. This hand is simultaneously striking to his groin, and from there, I'm bringing this hand up and out. So that way I can then strike and move forward for those same kicks and knees that we've done before with the other chokes. Then I disengage, move him back.
Okay, so if I could add in one other point, if you guys will notice, it's everything they're doing, it's not particularly fancy stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of it looks really, really similar. But as Cedric had mentioned earlier, I think that's one of the whole points of Krav Maga, is to keep things as completely simple as possible. Just so that, as he had mentioned, you're getting rid of all the unnecessary tools out of the toolbox. It starts off with a few slight variations, and then from there, it just goes right back to that grip around the trapezoid, that boom, boom, boom with the knees, and then the disengage. Okay, so I guess let me give it a shot. Okay, so from here, he's got me from the side, boom. So we're gonna go in for that same cupping technique. We've got the cupping hand here, gonna come up, same spot, where the thumb meets the wrist, boom, one. Now, there was a simultaneous technique. What was the
The
simultaneous?
hand is going right towards his groin,
Okay,
striking the groin.
so same time, bam.
Yes.
Now, is this going to be a hammer fist? Is this going to be
fingers
open?
are open to get the maximum reach in case he's moving away or getting
Boom.
distance, and I'm reaching up to smack up.
Okay, so I'll try that simultaneously. Boom, this way.
Good, yes.
Now, I noticed that as soon as I did that hit to the groin, Cedric bent over forward, so that naturally segues into that elbow coming up.
Now I'm delivering another elbow to his face.
Okay, so we're going to come back, boom,
Yeah,
with another
now,
elbow to
as
the
I'm
face.
turning in. Good.
Turn
There you
lock
go.
with the
Into that same
karate.
spot. There you go.
And then get the underhook,
Yes.
and then from there,
Kicks and
boom,
knees.
boom, up on the balls of the feet, and then disengage. Okay? Okay, very cool.